We now have Coach Lane Kiffin with us. Coach, you want to have an opening statement?
Yeah, exciting day for Ole Miss, for the players, for the fans. That's a really good team that we played, a team that, won 9 games, had one of the best defenses statistically in the country. I think they were best in negative plays in the ACC, creating those, and very well coached. So I know our guys talked a lot over the course of the month, especially the last week, of making a statement, feeling they were left out of the playoffs, and so they really wanted to make a statement against an ACC team that had 2 teams in the playoffs, and a team that they looked at it that had taken SMU to overtime, I think. So proud of the way that they played. They really, we screwed up with the fake field goal early, but outside of that, just completely dominated a 9-win team on offense and defense in the game. So that was great to see. I do apologize. I told Manny at the end, Jackson's touchdown pass to Jordan, that was just those 2 guys. I actually tried to take Jackson out, if you saw earlier, and he refused to go out, which says a lot about him. But he and Jordan came up with that play on their own, and he was supposed to hand the ball off. So I didn't like that part, but the rest of the day was a really big statement about these guys. Not just how good of a team they are, 10 wins, and all 10 wins I think are double-digit wins. I don't think many people are able to say that. But, these are games that a lot of teams struggle to show up for. Players opt out, or even if they don't. You've seen some teams that were really good teams, struggle in a non-playoff bowl game. So I was really pleased for our guys to show up. 8 o'clock start here. It was great to see.
All right, questions?
I know that you had no doubt that Jackson was going to play and play hard, but on his first play, did you really want him to take Alex Howard head on?
That's just who he is. Obviously, he doesn't listen very well because we subbed him out, if you noticed. Austin comes in and he just waves him off. So I think kind of when, it's kind of when the kids get a certain age, they don't listen to you as well. I feel like that was kind of the case today with his touchdown pass and running people over instead of sliding and then not coming out of the game. But he's awesome. I hope that, said at the beginning of the year, regardless of how wins and losses go, I hope that our fans appreciate this time frame of what's going on with Ole Miss football, but specifically this quarterback, and the all-time winningest quarterback, all-time most yards, and that's special. Place played football a long time with some really good quarterbacks. So just really hope everybody appreciate what they saw statistically in the play, but what they saw from a competitor and leader that a lot of guys wouldn't even played in the game.
Right.
Lane, your team kind of returned to a bygone era of college football with guys opting into the game rather than opting out. What do you have to say about guys like Jackson and JJ and Jared, some of the ones who built the foundation of this team that you're building, and them not only playing, but what they've done throughout the course of their time at Ole Miss?
Yeah, I think it was amazing, statement of what they did, because you had some guys that had been here a while, like you mentioned, Ivy and JJ and Jackson and some others that even Bentley had talked about preparing for the draft. So you had a lot of, but they had been here a while. Then you have newer guys like Walter Nolan, potential first-round pick, Princely, really high pick, that played. And I met with Walter at half and said, okay, now, you should come out now. And he still went and played in the first couple series of the second half. That just doesn't, like you said, I told them last night, you are an old school football team in that mentality. Like, you actually care about your team and your brothers in the locker room, and you're playing for them. And that doesn't happen very much anymore, unfortunately. I told them, I said, actually, that's how it always was. They didn't realize that.
Right.
Lane, this is your guys' third 10-win season in 4 years. It's just the 10th in Ole Miss history in the 100 and whatever years that it's been. What does that sort of history mean to you and what you guys have built here in just 5 years?
Well, I think that says a lot. I think it says, A lot too, because the SEC is so competitive now, and you got even newer teams in the SEC. Since way back then, probably four have come in, two just in the last year or so. It just says a lot about these players in this era to do that, and that says a lot about the commitment from the chancellor, from Keith when they hired us, and then continual commitment throughout that process, not just okay, here's the job, but then we needed things. We needed things with facilities, we needed things with staff budget to be able to get coaches like we have and be able to get Pete Golding to come, and they've given us everything we've ever asked for.
Lane, you mentioned in the trophy presentation that you're just getting started, that you're building for next year, that kind of thing. You obviously lose a lot of not just players but leaders off of this team. How difficult will it be to build to replace those guys and to kind of build without taking a step back?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have been so confident if we hadn't done some of this before. I feel like when Matt Corral left, I feel like a lot of people kind of thought, well, here comes, we're going to have this downswing, and that was just kind of a Matt Corral thing. And in our team, I know we won 10 games, we won 11 the year before. That's 21 in 2 years. But our team this year was a better team. We lost 3-1 score games. Two of them we have the ball up by 4 with 2.5 minutes left and make a couple first downs and we win the game. And so the team before went 4-0 in one-score games. So we were actually a better team. As you look at now, you got 10 wins of double-digit wins. That doesn't happen very often with SEC teams and a good bowl team. So my point is we can keep getting better, just continuing to add players and add pieces, and keeping our staff together too, which has been very critical. I think we said at the beginning here, I should remember this, you guys probably better remember me, I feel like this was the first year where all 3 coordinators, we were able to keep them, maybe the whole time that we've been here. We've always lost 1 or 2 of them every year.
Lane, we've asked you so much about Jackson this year, but with respect to the future with Austin, I guess what do you hope Austin picks up on about Jackson with sitting under him, and how do you hope Jackson can rub off on who's next?
Yeah, when I say this team's like a family, it really is, because the way that they just played for each other. Again, you're playing in the second half of a blowout, and guys are going back in the game. And I'm not going to say which ones specifically, guys that we were told actually weren't team type of guys at their previous places. So to see that is such a family, like that the players here helped change the ones coming in. Then I look at like the family in the quarterback room, and then when you say that about Austin, I see like he had this big brother show him like every way to do every single thing right, except for making his own plays up at the end. But so that's so valuable. It's one thing just to learn how a guy works, but how he prepares, how he works, how he treats people, how he wins his team over. So Austin, that's a really awesome thing Austin got to experience.
That throw from Jackson where he was fading left and threw it 51 yards to Watkins, from our vantage point, it's pretty spectacular. Just how special is a throw like that?
Yeah, that really was an amazing throw, and he'd had a great couple weeks of practice. He was hurt. I don't remember exactly how many games, but then he was hurt with his ankle and wasn't the same. And he got hit pretty hard in that Florida game. It wasn't the same in the fourth quarter in that game, and then limped around kind of the Egg Bowl. So him having a full month, being full strength, he showed how he played earlier before he got hurt. And again, we had some bad breaks this year, and the best receiver in the country wasn't even out there, just like he wasn't out there for, I think he played in 5 games. So, for Jackson to do that, set those records without not having him after 5.5 games or something is amazing.
In the back.
Lane, this whole year you could say has been deeply affected with your team, with the transfer portal adding all those guys, and then also Duke being down their top 2 quarterbacks. What are your overall thoughts on the transfer portal, and specifically, I mean, you had to add guys while you're also prepping for Duke in December. What are your overall thoughts on maybe the timing of that as well?
Yeah, I think it's, as I mentioned, a really broke system that's got to be fixed. And, you know, to have portal, and we lost guys, you know, going in the portal, a couple defensive starters, or a couple starters, you know, that went in the portal that would have been playing. So it kind of affected us as well as them, you know, especially their quarterback situation. But that's why I was proud of our offense. That was a really good defense that caused a lot of problems that didn't have any opt-outs. So them not having their quarterback, you know, didn't have anything to do with, you know, whatever it was, 589 yards of offense. That was our offensive players playing really well against a really good defense with a tough scheme. So was really pleased by that.
Last two questions. Any other questions?
You mentioned all the yards of offense, 440 for Jackson tonight, 447. Where do you feel like this ranks as far as the games you've seen him play over the years? I mean, it's a pretty special way to go out.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like he did this similar game against Penn State, you know, in the bowl game last year. I don't know if the stats were quite as large, but similar defense. It was Manny's defense at Penn State. And he made just a lot of great, really accurate throws. Players made plays for him. Trey was playing that day, but you know, this was a really, really good game. He had the one kind of lateral called back that screwed up the one drive, but 27 of 35 for 404, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. You know, it's pretty awesome.
Any other questions? Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys, thanks.